Parashat Vayikra. Yes, if you have questions, you can ask later. Parashat Vayikra. And in a way, the whole entire Sefer, Chumash of Vayikra, deal with what we call korbanot, which is the offering in which they brought in from that point on in the history of Israel until the temple was destroyed. And really, it's if this is what it's really dealing about, so therefore, one has to wonder, why do we have to read what happens in the korbanot time and time and time again, year after year after year, and so on and so forth? Because it seemed, which it is, the whole talk about korbanot is basically for the Kohanim themselves, like what to do and so on and so forth. And not only the Kohanim that were Mesharet in the Kodesh, but we need to understand that there's a big secret, there's a big hint, big lesson for us to learn when we are talking about those korbanot. The Zohar explained to us that the meaning of the word korban is not what we refer to today as korban. Korban in today's Hebrew or in today's even English refers to as sacrifice. Sacrifice means I am giving up for myself. I'm giving up something, sacrificing. And which in a way is kind of, it's not a positive attitude to it. But the Zohar explains to us that the word korban comes from the root kuf resh vet, which is karov. Karov means to come close. Kiruv is closeness, and so on and so forth. And of course, according to the Kabbalah, is the kiruv of bringing about the 10 sferot together until it all becomes one. In other words, to bring apart, to close the gaps. It's almost like, it was very hard for me to understand this years ago. I mean, when I'm talking years ago, I'm talking years ago, before we had, computers. The computers the way we have it today, when you can actually space out whichever way you want, right? So, one time I was writing a book, and then my computer crashed. I was able to retrieve some fragmented documents, and when I asked one of the guys to transfer it to me, it was impossible to see it because it was one blotch of black. And I said, oh my goodness. And then we realized that it's just like, like minus lines, and we spread it out and it will open up like this. So the korban, what we are doing, we need to bring everything into unification into this world. Now, it says in the Gemara, Lefum tzara agra. Lefum tzara agra is, most people refer to it as the way it's being translated, tsar, right? It basically means the reward is parallel to the level of suffering, tsar, that a person is. However, when we look at the concept behind it, it's not necessarily tsar, in other words, suffering or sorrow that we suffer today, but rather means something else. It means an effort. Lefum tzara agra, when you put it in that matter, it takes a whole different turn whatsoever. Judaism, unfortunately, along the lines, had some kind of influence from other religions they came with. The suffering is the main thing. The suffering is not. In terms of Judaism, for us it's all about effort. We need to put an effort in. So if we look at it this way, the concept of korban, that it's talking about putting things together, right, has something to do with an effort. So therefore, it's not just the action itself. When we bring the korban, I'm bringing in the lamb, I'm bringing in the sacrificial lamb, I'm bringing the whatever it is that I'm bringing. I don't know, what am I bringing? Oxen and roosters, or whatever I'm bringing as a sacrifice, as an offering, should I say. But we need to put an action, something else to the action, and that will be intent, what we call in Hebrew kavanah. Kavanah mishum lechaven, mishum kivun. Kivun means direction. I need to put a special, the word sights in Hebrew will be kavenet. When I'm aiming towards something, I need to aim towards something. It has to have a certain kavanah. Whether it's we bring the offering in Bet Hamikdash, or we do so in our lives. To every action, we need to put a special intent of an actual effort. Unfortunately, today, the trend is not to put an effort into anything. People don't want to put an effort. They got used to everything handed out to the point today that people don't want to work. They just want to get money without an effort. That's not good. That brings destruction to the world. That brings separation to this world. And we need to understand that. We said before that there is a statement of Chazal that tells us, "Aseh lecharav ukne lecha chaver." Aseh lecharav, you have to designate yourself a rabbi, and if you acquire a friend, a buddy, to teach us that for true friendship, you need to pay. You need to pay for true friendship. You need to invest, and you need to make an effort. You need to go out of your way. And everything that has an importance to it and meaning is something that you have to know, and you have to realize it would never come for you for free. You always have to put an effort. You need to invest in that, and you need to do something. Anything that comes, by the way, you should know there's nothing in the world that is free. Everything you have to pay. Sometimes the price is too much. But if you want to acquire something, the greater the meaning, the greater the importance, the greater the effort that you have to put into it. And this is why Torah is not so popular, because you need to put an effort. You're dealing with a different material than you're used to. You're required to do the work yourself. And unfortunately today, people would rather sit down and listen to something while they drive, a podcast while they drive, than to open a Gemara and and learn. And by this, they think that they are chief rabbis of Turks and Caicos, something of that sort. It just doesn't work like that. It just doesn't work like that. You need to put an effort. We are used to today to too much easy. And it starts with the way you raise a home, with having too many maids and too many cleaning ladies and too many stuff like this. Without, I can't believe that there are guys who are 25 years old that can't even flip an egg, can't make an omelet. It's terrible. No, yeah, he knows how to make. Yeah, it makes good eggs. So of course, so the effort is what we should feel. What is we supposed to feel when we're making that effort? Are we going to feel difficulty? Are we going to feel suffering? Or maybe we could somehow connect to joy that is involved in the action of doing things. So the Zohar explains to us that people put an effort is because they want to receive something in return. And what this thing in return is to feel the abundance, להרגיש שפע. They want to feel the abundance. They want to feel pleasure. They want to feel bracha. Bracha means blessing. They want to feel luck. They want to feel simcha and satisfaction and so on and so forth. And if you think about the words, I can't get no satisfaction, is because you don't put any effort. That's what when you put an effort and things start to fall into place and take shape, you feel you're blessed. That's because you put the effort. That's why you feel, that's why at least you're supposed to feel. And in order for us to pull all these things from their source, we really need to connect to the upper levels, to the sfeirot and so on and so forth, to the upper worlds, and to bring them closer and closer. And how exactly we're going to do that? All right, with actions that we could relate to. For example, feelings, intent, awareness, or feelings of love and joy and giving and mercy and kindness and so on and so forth. So when the action comes from those attributes of feeling love, or feeling importance, or feeling anything like this, then you can start making, that's the glue that helps you put things together. And when you do so, the action itself is not just enough, and therefore we need to put the appropriate kavanah. So when I'm doing something, I could do the same action because I have to, or because I want to, or because I love to, and you get totally different results when you do those things. So the Talmud, for example, says, the Gemara tells us that shlicho shel adam kamoto, when a person makes a shaliach, makes a messenger, he appoints a person to do the work for him, it is like he's doing it himself. In other words, kocho kekochi, my hand is like his hand, my power is like my power, and so on and so forth. So what does it mean? So let's say, for example, you have a person who is a multimillionaire, a billionaire, and he sends a poor person to acquire some kind of to close some kind of deal for him, or to act in his behalf in a deal that is worth millions of dollars. So in a way, who made the acquisition? The poor person. He negotiated, but he didn't buy it. He just made this happen. And that is something for us to really understand. When a person gets an affirmation that he can act upon something, so therefore he becomes exactly like him, and this is bounding in terms of legality, right? Right? We can say even then, if I ask, for example, let's say Zalman to go to, where should you be going to? Let's go further. Let's go Ukraine. You find yourself a nice woman. There's a girl named Olga, and please marry her for me. I mean, not you going to marry her. You're going to act on my behalf as my extension to marry her. Even such an act of marriage could be done by a shaliach. And that's valid. That's valid, legal bounding. So this is a tremendous lesson for us here to understand that when this thing happened, in a way, not only my hand becomes the hand, by neshamot, the two souls joined together, and when we put into our messenger the mission that needs to be done, he can do whatever we want to do. In other words, so if, for example, you don't have money and I have money, and I'm asking you to represent me, you have my power to acquire half of Manhattan if I had to, or if I want to. So you become like me. Now, for us, is a very big lesson on that matter. And it's true also in a way to the way we interact with God, with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, with the Creator Himself. It says in Sefer Bereshit, B'Tselem Elokim bara et ha'adam. Zachar, right? Mankind was created in the image of God. We discussed about it many times, of the different aspects. What does it mean, the image of God? Because God does not really have an image. But we are talking about certain abilities that only God has, that He allowed mankind to acquire from Him and to act in the image of God. Almost like shadowing upon casting a shadow that would be like this. That's exactly what we're talking about. So now, we could technically do whatever God wants to do, or whatever God could do. For example, the Midrash explains to us that when Moshe entered that energy of HaKadosh Baruch Hu through whatever that was built in the Mishkan, he did so with all his power, with all his awareness, with all his intent, and so on and so forth, because he realizes he's the only messenger of the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu to come, and because of this awareness, because of this realization, Moshe was able to connect himself completely, in a complete connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and therefore God spoke to him face to face like He never spoke to any person ever since. And if you think about it for a second, each and every one of us can reach that level. And the Rambam affirms that, and everybody affirms that. Each and every one of us can reach that level to become the messenger of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, or the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, whatever it is that you want. So therefore, each and every one of us could reach this point in which we could do whatever God does. And it sounds weird, but it's not. For example, we could heal people. We say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Rofeh Cholim, God is the helper, is the cure, right? He's the doctor, the ultimate doctor. How could I, a human being, be Rofeh Cholim? Well, there's one way. I can go to medical school. Yes, I am only acting upon the authority that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave me. That's why I became a doctor and he didn't become a doctor. Or I can, for example, go, if a person is sick, and I could do what? Bikur Cholim. Bikur Cholim are reviving him. I could be Rofeh Cholim also by seeing my friend depressed. And I'm going out and I'm saying, listen buddy, let's have a drink together. Let's, go fishing. Whatever. So he snaps out of it. I could be Rofeh Cholim as well. I could revive the dead. Hey, I don't call myself Messiah, but you and all of us could revive the dead. What does it mean reviving the dead? A person could feel so down that he feels dead. And lo tam b'chaim. He doesn't have any flavor to his life. He's dead. And we could help him bring this juice back into his life to revive him. And usually in times of great stress, a person is down. He feels alone. Something terrible happened to him. You are there. You are reviving his spirit. You are doing Tchiyat HaMetim, awakening of the dead or rising of the dead is not some kind of like a zombie movie from Freddy Krueger or one of those things, right? It's a reality. In our perspective, that's a reality. Now this person, or let's say you help a person not commit suicide, you're there, right? There's so many different things like this, or you could be. We know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the source of bracha, but the bracha needs to come down. Blessing needs to come down. You could give brachot to people. You could bless people. You could give people jobs. You become Mekor HaBracha. You are becoming an extension of God. That's why the more we understand that, the more it will become a learning for our lives of how to conduct ourselves with the right intent. Not just the mechanics of things. Do this, do that. You lift it up, you put it down, and so on and so forth. But also the intent behind it. The understanding, the engineer, why he put whatever he put, and why he designed whatever he designed. At the highest level of understanding. But this is not going to come to you from the heavens. If you take a little LSD or take some magic mushrooms or anything like this, they will come through a complete understanding of letting everything down, quieting down the external noise that is out there that's telling you time and time again what to do, only so you would not do what you really need to do, is to really quiet. I always say shut down because it's impossible, but to quiet your mind down and concentrate on your voice inside and what this is really telling you to do. That we try so hard not to listen, not to hear. And when we understand that, then the Zohar comes and talks about something that's called Malchut Shamayim. Malchut Shamayim is the kingdom of heaven, right? And we say, all Malchut Shamayim, all means the yoke, right? Just like oxen, they put a yoke on it, right? So, and with this yoke that you put on the ox, he actually, what does he do? He plows the field, right? But if you just take the ox itself and you walk it in the field, the ox cannot do anything. It can't do anything. In order for the ox to be able to plow the field appropriately, you need to first of all have the yoke, and the yoke needs to be connected first of all to the ox so he can do something with it. Kabbalat Ol Malchut Shamayim, the whole reason, the whole idea it comes for us here also. In other words, in referring to us, we need to first of all accept upon myself that there is God in the world, and that is His world and not our world, and whatever He says to do, we should be doing. Whatever He wants will happen, and we need to understand that. Now, it doesn't make a difference how many degrees you have in college, or how much money you have in the bank, or how much bourbon you drink in your life. That makes no difference whatsoever. What makes the difference is the understanding that there is a God. I mean, if you want to know where God is, it's very simple. It's all around you. Just look around. Just look around. Just simply look around. Look at each and every one of us. We all have different eyes. This one got beautiful green, blue eyes, whatever you got. This one got whatever eyes, and so on and so forth. This one is, and on and on and on and on. And he has ears, and I have ears, and you got ears, and so on, and mouth, and fingers. And yet each and every one of our eyes is different. There's no two eyes that are identical in the universe. And the same thing to a finger. I mean, we all do the same thing with the fingers. We all have fingers, but all fingers look. I mean, we operate them the same way. Well, some pick our noses, some actually write checks, and so on and so forth. But we work in the fingers the same way. We don't listen from our fingers, and we only hear from our ears, and we see from the eyes, and so on and so forth. But they're all different. They're all different. And this is where God hides. In other words, we are all created, all humans, from day one until today and on. We all created according to one plan. And that plan is called Adam HaRishon, first man. And we were created according to this plan in this divine ability to create all the same and yet completely different that would never be the same. When a man makes a coin, if God look at a quarter, they all look the same. You can print out, I mean, ask any local government, right? They print out money like crazy and they all look the same. Billions of dollars that they build, that they all look the same. When man does something, does not have this ability to do that in such uniqueness. Now, going to explain it to me with your whatever it is that you want, you can't explain it. This is God. You want to know where God is? Look around you. Open your eyes. Open your ears. And don't be stupidly stubborn. And the only reason is because you don't want to acknowledge it. At the end of the day, nothing will happen. And you want something to happen, you have to put God's yoke on you. And only then you can plow. Only then something good will come out. And we need to understand it. We need to come into terms with that. And that is the ultimate, the expression of ultimate freedom. Because I know what to do, so now I'm free to do what I need to do. So, if we're going to be able to accept this upon ourselves, and to become, to the best of our abilities, the best messengers or representatives of God, the more we'll try that, then we can basically do everything we want. Because God gave us this permission. B'Tselem Elokim, in the image of God. The Zohar teaches here also something which is very, very clear. The level in which you see yourself only as messengers of the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the level in which you could do anything you do. The more you accept upon yourself all Malchut Shamayim, the more unstoppable you'll become. Whether you want to believe it or acknowledge it or not, that's your problem, but that's the reality. And the contrary, the level in which we don't see ourselves as pure messengers of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the level in which we cannot do a thing. So it's up to you. What do you want to be? Now, when we are talking about the issue of Korban, and we said before, Mishum Karev, Mishum coming close, to teach us also that Korban, Karev, coming close, is also the word, the letter of Krav. Krav means fighting. Battle. Krav means battle as well, to teach us that we have to fight and we have to conduct a battle on things that are important, but really important in life. What color are you going to paint your bedroom is not important. What color is your duvet that your wife bought does not make a difference. You need to be able to fight for the real thing. Yeah, one of them is for your right to party. That's one thing. But if you're not willing to fight, you can't reach anything. You need to be willing to go on. Now, sometimes the fight not necessarily means to take arms to your hands and do some kind of kung fu, flip-flops. It also means, for example, let's say you have a foot ache. You have an ingrown toenail, and it hurts. And you're saying, well, no, I need to do what needs to be done. I need to go to Yeshiva to learn. I need to go to work. So with the pain, you are carrying yourself over. That battle of the famous battle that some of us, still fight every single day is to get up in the morning and not to go back to bed. Actually, to get up on time and not to go back to bed. Everything, so you need to be able to conduct this battle. Because if you're just going to lay back and like a little poodle waiting for your stomach to be scratched, you lost the game before it started. You can't go anywhere. You need to be able to conduct a fight. So when we are, especially when we are acting in behalf of the people, from a place of awareness and a willingness to bring closer, things about, whether it's the separations in the world, bringing about people, bringing about Shalom Bayit, and so on and so forth. That's why they say, bringing out Shalom ben ish leishto, ben adam lechavero, between two friends, and ben ish leishto. It's priceless, because you're bringing out closer, most important things that are separated. You are helping a family not fall apart. You're helping friends not fall apart. So therefore, when you decide to become an agent of putting things together, you're doing God's work. But when you speak Lashon Hara, and you divide, and you conquer, and so on and so forth, I don't care how big your kippah is. I don't care how much money you give for tzedakah. I don't care how long your beard is or your sideburns are. I don't really care. If you do those things, you're not a messenger of God. You're taking but the job of the snake. You're putting things apart. And that's exactly where it all started for us. We start to have that, well, maybe this, maybe that, maybe this. Start to fall apart. And from that point, we're reaching a point now of almost a point of no return. Well, it's up to us to pick up the job and start doing something, putting people together, putting from yourself. You don't understand what. Look, Idan travel, and some people help, give money, and bought the meat, and and so on and so forth. And Idan every week, dedicates himself to make chulent, and somebody else does. But you have no idea what this food here can actually do to your future by putting people together, and the fact that you're eating together something that some of your friends did. You have no idea. That's why it's important to share, to get up, to get out of your, I wouldn't say comfort zone. It's not a comfort zone. To get out of your selfishness and says, you know what, I'm going to clean today. You know what, I'm going to put the books today. You know what, I'm going to sweep the floor today. Don't worry, I want to do it because I feel connected. I want to connect to this. I want to be a level of what we call Re'im Ahuvim, beloved friends, that it's like the connection is beyond that. It's the oneness that we need to feel with one another, not the separation. But that's why it starts, first of all, with Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, with the oneness of God. If you cannot understand the concept of one, for crying out loud, you can't even understand, well, you will have to understand the concept of zero then. And we need to stop with this already. So, and when we do that battle, we conduct this battle on the real thing, right? And when we act for the others, when we act for society from a place of willingness and to bring things about, of knowing, of mission, of mindfulness, of bringing everything together to connect physical life with spiritual life, and only then the abundance, the shefa will come. And the Ari explains to us that the initial reward is already by being allowed to conduct the battle of who we are. That's already the reward. You are lucky to be able to determine who you would be. The right for self-determination is a gift, and you need to earn it. And that battle is on who we are, on our essence. And if we're going to do all these things from a place of happiness and a place of joy and responsibility in order to bring the light to our lives, so therefore our success is guaranteed. Why? Because it says already, Ki titzeh lamilchama al oivecha, when you're going to go on a war on your enemies, right? Unetano Hashem Elokecha beyadcha, and God would make you win. It's guaranteed. And I don't care who's sitting in the where as a president or prime minister, you're going to win. Well, if you're going to be able to connect to that point which we spoke beforehand. And over there it says, it doesn't say nilchamta, you should go to battle. It says ki tetzeh lamilchama. In other words, just wanting to go, wanting to do the right thing, will also guarantee you your success. Only wanting to do the right thing. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes machshava tova, takes a good intent, and in his world, it's considered to be as you actually did it. Just wanting it, we'll consider it as you did it. And then is the essence of Korban, by bringing the Sferot together in order for all of us to be Shalom. First of all, with Am Yisrael to be Shalom. Shalom, as I tell you many times, is not peace. Shalom comes from Shalem, from whole. When we strive to become one, HaKadosh Baruch Hu would put his seal of approval on us becoming harmonious and one. Without world, without separation, world without fragmentation, where issues of religion and faith and color and don't make any difference. It's all about the glory of God. And we need to understand it. We cannot do this job unless we're going to start ourselves be united as whole, to see all the Jews in the world as one entity, not with Sephardi, Ashkenazim, and so on and so forth. And that is the secret of Sefer Vayikra. The secret of Sefer Vayikra includes within itself all the possibilities of connections and intent and different ways that would adjoin themselves to the actual actions of wanting to put these gaps together. We are right now, at the footsteps of Purim. And in Purim, everybody knows what happened to Am Yisrael. Now, we had a choice. Either it's going to be through our understanding, our awakening to we need to be together to serve God, for the glory of God. And if we don't understand that, we're going to have a Melech Rasha ke Haman, a wicked person like Haman. The choice is ours. That's why each and every one of us counts. We cannot allow somebody with those philosophical ideas to say, well, where is God or where is this? Habibi, there is a train that's about to leave the station. The train is about to leave the station. You want a ticket in? I don't care if it's the ticket standing up. If you would have to take the last train that goes out from Europe before they ship everybody to Auschwitz, would you tell me, if it's not sitting down, I'm not going? You will go on the top of the train. This is the last chance for you to get a ticket to the train. There will be those who would not make the ticket. But at least for those of us who do the job, or try to do the job of putting together, don't interrupt. Allow us to do the job, and please feel more than welcome to join us in bringing the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu to this world, in putting an end to this separation today. Amen.
Amen.